Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to the last half hour of the 2 hours that I've enjoyed hosting you. I cannot believe how fast the time has flown, but let us get straight into the book reviews as promised. So, the first book that I have for review, or that I have reviewed for today, is called Abu Ubaidah Soars, and I'm sure that the producer will be showing pictures and slides, but I've actually carried a copy of the book to studio to share with you. And this book, I hope it's in focus of the camera, but this, I was so excited to share with you this book because the quality of this book is par excellence. But before I talk about the quality, let me just tell you a little bit about the book. And I mean, this is a child's book, but it is so appealing and so I personally really enjoyed this book, and I would recommend it to mothers, to nursery school teachers, and to just about any woman who is still a little bit of a girl at heart, like I think I am. So the book is called Abu Ubaidah Soars. Abu Ubaidah Soars follows the adventures of a young boy in the heart of Johannesburg as he sets out to find his mother's lost wedding ring. With some gardening, a metal detector, a hidden treasure, and a bit of tinkering and experimenting, Abu Ubaidah has a soaring journey and an adventure. Young readers will be inspired by the confident, hardworking, and industrious nature of the protagonist of the story and hopefully be motivated to set out their own journeys of discovery. The author has, or the publishers, Bushwallow Books, has recommended this book and paired it for reading for children from the age of 2 years old, and given a nice little anecdote there, saying that as long as your little one doesn't tear up the pages, and really I wouldn't recommend that. So please be very careful about that. But it's also recommended for independent reading for children up until the age of 9. The original multimedia books in this book have actually been drawn, painted, and embroidered and worked on by hand. It's really absolutely rich, intricate illustrations, and I commend not only the illustrations, which are phenomenal and exceptionally done, but the reflection of what has been done in watercolor to the extent that it reflects the markings associated with watercolor paper. The embroidery that was done by hand then reflects in the picture and almost gives like a 3D impression. The quality of this book, A4 in size, hardcover, bound in according to standards, and glossy pages of considerable strength in terms of GSM. Really lovely. And then the life lessons that come through from the story. It's such a brilliant way in which you can impart lessons for children. And I share this best by way of example. So when Abu Ubaidah's mum actually loses her wedding ring, then the first thing that she says is Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. And that then, such a nice way to teach our children that when we lose something or something unpleasant occurs in our life, then that is the first words to be said. And then, likewise, that theme is carried on throughout the book. The correct mannerisms of speaking, of character, imbibed throughout the book by the characters and by all the characters in the book. And for example, words like Subhanallah, MashaAllah, at the appropriate times, Bismillah, are all taught via the story. The book does contain transliterations of the Arabic terminology, and it's recommended thus not specifically and limited to Muslim children, but will do well in any setting regarding children. So, just a little bit about the publishers. So, Bushwallow Books, who published this book, has left us with a very proudly South African publishing house. They've started Bushwallow Books based on the conviction that children require high quality, fun, and engaging content that speaks to their lived and diverse. Speaks to their lived rather and diverse experiences, and they then produce children's literature and educational content that nurtures a confident, strong, intelligent, well balanced, and happy child. Bushwallows has recently been set up, I think, in the second half of the year 2020, and the first book that they published was published in the year 2021. This book, written by Mohammed Kola, illustrated by Aisha Yaqub, and edited by Fatima Ragie, who is a friend of mine, is really a treasure to behold and to be kept in your library. Just before we leave, where to buy Ubaidah Soars. Fatima did tell me that the book is currently out of print, but check on their website, bushwallowbooks.com. You might find the stockers of the book. You might request a direct online order, and they have links all over different websites. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, they are everywhere. So bushwallowbooks.com, that's one word, bushwallow, WILLOW, books.com. Okay, and that then takes me to the next book that I have on review, and also which I have carried with me just to show you. This is the book which I've spoken about before. This is a very, very powerful book, a tool, I think, for a Muslim woman, a tool which she cannot do without. So, the title then of the book, You Can Be the Happiest Woman in the World. The author is Dr. al-Qarni, and the book was translated from the original Arabic by Huda Khattab into the English language. This book is, although sought after, widely available, and should be stored and stocked by most booksellers throughout South Africa. So, happiness is something that concerns you. It's something that concerns me, and happiness is definitely something that every one of us is pursuing daily. As the title of this book suggests, this book really is a treasure chest of reminders which we as Muslim women can benefit from in this great pursuit of happiness. The book opens with a dedication, and I will not do justice to my review without actually sharing this dedication with you. So here I quote: To every Muslim woman who is content with Allah as her Lord, Islam as her religion, and Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam as her prophet. To every girl who follows the path of truth, who carries the message of sincerity. To every teacher who strives by means of her words to convey knowledge and values and has purified her soul. To every mother who brings her children up to fear Allah and to follow the Sunnah and makes virtue dear to them. To every woman who is burdened with worries and sadness. Rejoice and receive the glad tidings of a way out of hand, the care of Allah, a great reward, and an expiation of sins. Sheikh Dr. Aid ibn Abdullah al-Qarni was born in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and he holds a bachelor's degree in Usul al-Din, a master's degree in Usul al-Hadith, and his PhD, his doctorate, is also in the field of the sciences of Hadith. He has authored as many as 29 books, although not all have been translated into the English language, as well as 4 or 5 compilations of his own poetry. He has memorized the Quran Kareem and is thus a Hafiz of the Quran as well. He is most well known for his book La Tahsan, translated as Do Not Be Sad. Now, I really enjoyed and was inspired by La Tahsan, which is essentially a book of advice taken from infallible sources, the Quran and the Sunnah. But what makes it different, or what makes this book different, is that it also includes quotes from Western as well as Eastern authors, but only insofar as they are relevant to the subject matter at hand and if they are in agreement with the truth. Another book by Dr. Aid al-Qarni titled Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam ka'innaka tara, Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam as if you can see him, is a beautiful biography of our beloved Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and also one which I suggest should belong to your Seerah library. Now, bringing us back to You Can Be the Happiest Woman in the World, I have to say that the author has a very convincing style. I like that he draws on Islamic teachings and wise words of Muslims and Muslim scholars throughout the ages, and his conviction and his style is it's apparent, both in a very realistic style. He makes it clear that the life in this world will never be perfect, because that, of course, will only happen in Jannah. But in his book, the author points out to the readers that which we can do with the help of Allah Azza wa Jal to make the most of what we have in order to attain a level of contentment and happiness in this dunya. This book is intended for every woman, and it would appeal to a very busy woman, whether she is busy with her family, with her home, or with her career. But this is because the structure of the book is so that it would appeal. It's written in short chapters. It has sub-chapters, and each of these sub-chapters then give essential points which remind and inspire the reader, and even leaves the door open for the reader to deepen his or her own knowledge of the concepts which are mentioned. We have about a minute to go before we have to stop for an ad break, and I'd like to stop there and be back, inshallah, for the last 15 minutes of this program to continue my review on You Can Be the Happiest Woman in the World.
This is Salam Media.
At Sentio, our Invest for Good philosophy is based on a genuine desire to use our investment skills for the benefit of broader society by investing responsibly, giving charitably, and developing talent that will transform the investment industry. Visit www.sentio-capital.com for more information about our Sharia investment products and start saving with us today. Sentio Capital. Invest for good. Sentio Capital Management is an authorized financial services provider.
Online schooling? Why not? Kurtuba Online Academy is the leading global online Islamic school from grade R to matric, offering South African caps and international syllabus. And it doesn't stop there. We also offer online madrasa for every grade. For more information, visit www.kurtubaonline.co.za. Kurtuba Online Academy, the leading global online Islamic school.
Conveniently located along the banks of the Crocodile River bordering the Kruger National Park, as a guest at Buckler's Africa Lodge, one can enjoy an amazing sunrise or sunset on our spacious deck area while you catch a glimpse of some wildlife sightings along the Crocodile River. The sounds of the African savannah will greet you whilst you enjoy your morning coffee. Buckler's Africa Lodge by Tingana Collection. Buckler's Africa Lodge is ideally situated only 6 kilometers from the Crocodile Bridge Gate in the Kruger National Park. Catering for all travelers with variety, we have 4 types of the finest rooms: superior rooms, deluxe suites, and 2-bedroomed family units. Each room is equipped with the finest amenities to make your stay unforgettable. Guests can choose between the self-catering option or book their accommodation with breakfast and dinner included. Buckler's Africa Lodge is your ideal location for the ultimate Kruger getaway experience. We specialize in exhilarating and educational game drives in Kruger, tailor-made to suit your family. Inquire about our various accommodation offerings and other activities. Visit www.tingana.co.za for more information. Buckler's Africa Lodge by Tingana Collection. Experience the pulse of Africa with us.
Listen to something fresh. Listen to Salam Media.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome back to the very final few minutes that I have with you this morning, the 8th of uh, August 2023, in which we talk about women in Islam. So I have been busy with the review of the book You Can Be the Happiest Woman in the World by Dr. al-Qarni, and I have said and say again that this is a book which I recommend every mother, sister, and daughter should have a copy of and refer to. So I've spoken a little bit about what the book entails and its format, but continuing then on the format of the book, it's so beautiful how the author has made every chapter open with a powerful quotation, mostly an ayat from the Quran Kareem, and that ayat then which sets the tone for the point that the author encourages us, the readers, to ponder on therein. The chapters then conclude on an inspirational quote, which helps then to put it into perspective. So beautifully, imagine the chapter starts with an ayat of the Quran, setting the tone of the point that is being made, and then ends with an inspirational quote, then tied to that whole introduction and to that chapter. Um, I think this is actually best explained by way of an example. And so I use chapter 10, subchapter 4 as my example. And the author then quotes from Surah Al-Fat, ayat number 18, and he says, فَأَنزَلَ السَّكِينَةَ عَلَيْهِمْ. And Allah has sent down His sakina, that means the calmness and the tranquility upon, upon us. And actually, I wish I could actually go into the tafsir of Surah Al-Fat, but not for this program and obviously time constraints. But the chapter then, he titles it as Beware of Complaining and of Being Discontent. And amongst others then, he writes, to you, my dear reader, and this I also find so beautiful, and I'm going to share with you by way of a direct quote. So he says, either you will be aware of your happiness and enjoy it with all of your senses, or you will ignore it and you will look elsewhere for what you think you are lacking, in which case you will fall prey to complaining and discontent. In that case, wait until this present becomes the past. Then you will weep and realize how happy you were at that time, but you did not realize it. But now you have nothing left but fading memories. So, to explain that quote, then, the author is giving an advice. I think a lot of people might, recently with the advent of social media, be in the habit or have kind of inculcated a habit of comparison. And that is actually a thief of one's own happiness and one's own joy. Nobody can be you. You are unique. Nobody has got the blessings which Allah Azza wa Jal has set down for each of us. So you need to appreciate what you have. Do not think that you are lacking or that you are short in any which way. And in that case, you're not appreciating what you have. You're not enjoying it. You are not happy. And instead, you become a very negative person. You are complaining. You become discontent. And this then paving the way to even a worse situation where what you have is actually then gone, and then only do you really open your eyes and see from the heart, and when it is much too late, realize that you've lost it all and you've left with nothing but fading memories. That power quote then concludes the chapter, which reads, a woman may turn the home into a paradise or into an unbearable hell. And I think this should really get us thinking. There is no situation in life which is perfect. Life is filled with storms, with ups, with downs, and women can actually exercise patience, exercise beauty in how they tackle that, and balance out her husband and ride the storms and wait for tides to turn and for things to get better. And of course, we know that it will get better. So, what I really loved was chapter 1, which has 5 subchapters entitled Welcome, Yes, No, 10 Thoughts to Ponder, and lastly, Think About It. So those are the names of the chapters, right? Welcome, yes, no, 10 thoughts to ponder and think about it. The welcome is actually very beautiful in that it addresses us Muslim women in such a way that it simultaneously enumerates our values. For example, the author says, "Welcome, O devout, Allah-fearing woman who prays and fasts. O dignified woman who observes hijab. O aware, well-read and educated woman." And then for an example of the yes, his yes chapter actually really made me smile. And some of it is, yes to your beautiful smile that sends a message of warmth and friendliness to others. Yes to your kind words that establish friendships as permitted in Islam. Yes to reading useful, interesting, and beneficial books. I have to conclude by saying that this is a book to read and to reread because reminders are beneficial to believers, and this book is full of amazing and inspiring reminders. What you read affects your thoughts and your attitudes, and that in turn affects your behavior. This book is a practical guide to positive thinking and to clarifying your role as a Muslim woman. The translation is clear and the English language used is excellent. The important lessons are presented in little bite-sized fragments, and the overall message conveyed to the reader is that the way to happiness is to be found in the clarity of knowledge and in the soundness of education. With that, we come to the end of my time with you. It has been an absolute pleasure. I've really enjoyed myself. I've spoken from the heart, and I hope that you've enjoyed as much as I've enjoyed. Until we meet again on Thursday, the 10th of August, inshallah, same time, same place. Take care. Keep me in your du'as. مع السلامة في أمان الله.